Hey guys, welcome to the English Micro PD Week 1, where we're just mostly talking about the intention of writing within every single class and why we do it and what we do it for. For reference, I am Kayla Brubaker. I'm one of the 8th grade English teachers. This is my first year here at FC, so I'm really happy to kind of meet you guys, even though we aren't really in person. The other English teachers on board, we have Jessica Davis and Betsy Hemmings and Marie Garay, and all of us will be involved in all 4 weeks that we're doing this in different capacities. So you might see me, you might see Jessica, you might see Betsy. It just really depends on the week and what we are doing. So I am really excited to get started, and we're just going to get right into it. On this screen, you guys are going to see the slides. I'll pop them in every now and then also you are going to be taken to embedded questions using this Edpuzzle platform. So every now and then you are going to be stopped, or I'm going to be stopped really, and you guys are going to answer a question, and that's kind of how we're just going to do this first week. That's not exactly in person, but does allow us to be able to see you guys and the work that you're doing with it. And that way you can do it on your own time until next week when we meet at 8:15. So we're just going to go ahead and get started, and let's get into it. So let's just talk a little bit about the most common errors. One, we have sentence fragments. These are students just not writing a complete sentence because every sentence has to have a subject and a predicate. The who and the what and the what about. A fragment example would be takes time and effort. Complete sentences would be writing incomplete sentences requires time and effort. We have this a lot in like short answer questions. Kids will just fill in the blanks and write in, the exact thing that they need to do and then not make a complete sentence. And it needs to be something that we all as teachers watch because it's something that leads to sentence fragments in larger writing. The second thing is the lack of punctuation. So unless your students are very passionate about their topic, have them end complete sentences with a simple period. Wrong would be I like turtles. Correct would be I like turtles, period. For those passionate about their subjects, I love turtles, exclamation point. So everything does need to have punctuation. It just depends on the punctuation type that they're supposed to have. Here we would need to watch for commas. We would need to watch for some kids throw in semicolons when they're not supposed to be. Just make sure that that punctuation is correct. 3 is capitalization. So remind them to mind their mints, which is months, I, the letter / pronoun I, N, names, T, titles, and S, starts of sentences. So this is really vital for kids to get proper capitalization. They have to have this in sentences, obviously, and we know that, but we don't catch it all the time, and especially with the lovely iPhones, it doesn't always capitalize everything they need, and if it does, it autocorrects it, and so they just type in and they don't ever have to capitalize. So we've got to, train them to watch for those capitalization errors. A few more tips is to give them sentence starters. Some students know the answers but don't know how to begin to get those thoughts on papers. Some students know the answer but they're reluctant writers and they simply don't answer. So we can teach them the basic idea of turning the prompt or question into a sentence starter. This is something that we really work on. If your student is asked a question, kind of teach them how to take that and make that be the beginning of the sentence, especially in short answer questions where they have to answer multiple times. Have them do a sentence starter using that question. And then the best way to do this would be to model it. So be an example for your students. Don't correct the paper asynchronously and expect them to apply all your feedback. That's not going to work. That's one of the really hard parts about online schooling is you're like correcting things just on Canvas, and that's not something that kids are really going to pay very good attention to. adding comments about their ideas and thoughts. So really that's just to connect. This is not saying to add in comments that are asynchronous corrections. This is encouraging comments about the things that they're saying and getting them excited about the topic. Engage with them on Zoom for now when they are writing to provide these tips in real time. So it's hard to convince kids to stay on while they're working on stuff, but if you do that, you're able to stop them and ask them every few minutes, hey, do you have any questions? What are you writing about? What can I do to help you? Do you have any ideas for the good of the group? And reading answers out loud that are exceptional is also a really great way to engage them on Zoom. Write together. So get them to help you write. Maybe you start the sentence and then they finish the sentence. Or you have them each give, take a couple of seconds, write down your answer, and then share them out loud. And use exemplars, which I'm sure that everybody does because that's pretty common teaching practice, and that's just taking examples of other students' work and then showing it to your students. But one thing I would say is to make sure that you have the permission of the student that you're sharing, because kids can get really picky about their work being shared. So how can all teachers implement these? This is a big question. How do math teachers and science teachers and history teachers implement all of these things into their work? In some subject areas, writing's not a large part of the content or the curriculum, so how do we remedy that? Have your students write a reflection on their performance on a test, quiz, or a unit. So a sentence or two is fine. Use the discussion boards in Canvas for this. In Canvas, you guys can actually add rubrics, which is pretty cool. And if you want us to show you how to do that, we'd be happy to. And just get them to reflect. Maybe you guys did something math related. I'm very much an English teacher and I'm not good at math, but say it's something with integers and everybody really didn't get it and you're really struggling with getting them to focus on the content. Go ahead and have them reflect on it, and they can express maybe where they didn't get it, and that's something that can help you, but it also helps them go back and think about. Get creative with exit tickets. Same thing. Get them to write a one-sentence summary about what they learned for the day. I know that some of the teachers have tried this, and for some it worked and for some it didn't. This is just something that with Zoom and the way that we're learning right now, it's hard to get students to do, but it can be done, and the students should reflect, maybe not for the day, but for the week. Their exit ticket on Thursday before they go to office hours on Friday is what did I learn this week, or what was the most important thing I learned this week, and that way it's only one assignment instead of all of the assignments. And have the students explain how they came to answer their questions by writing out the steps in the process, especially for math or in science when you get into genetics and more of the math part of science. You guys can have them write step by step by step what it was that they did in order to get the correct answer. And I know that they have to show work, and this is just a way of them verbalizing that showing work. And of course, model the strategies in emails. If they have any questions, I know that informal emails are a huge problem because the kids can get real sassy in them, or they can go on a tangent in them, or, but if you're always modeling proper email etiquette, eventually the kids will catch on. Hopefully the kids will catch on. So just make sure you are modeling these strategies yourself. So here's just a short video. I will insert it here, so pause.
Writing is the most cognitively demanding skill that we ask of students. Reading is hard. You have to make sense of other people's ideas, decipher them, interpret them, but it's other people's ideas. Writing, it's from our own brain. It's our own ideas, in our own language, in our own voice. And it's complicated. Think about everything that it takes to write in the traditional sense. You have to hold a pencil or a pen. in your hand with just the right grip, not too high, not too low. Press it to the paper with just the right amount of pressure. You need to form a series of lines and curves and know that they go together to form letters. And the letters go together to form words, and the words go together to form sentences. The sentences go together to form paragraphs, and the paragraphs go together to form an essay or a letter or a story or a speech. And you need to have a beginning and a middle and an end. You need to have transitions that help those ideas flow from one to another. And you need to have varied sentence structure, varied sentence length. You need to know that sentences begin with a capital letter, it ends in punctuation, and sometimes there's punctuation in the middle. You need to have good ideas, original ideas. And you need to have the vocabulary to express those ideas with precision and in a way that engages your audience. And you have to do it all alone, holding the pencil to the paper, forming those letters one by one. It's complicated. And do you know what happens most often when students write in school? Research indicates that teachers rarely give feedback, and when they do, it's brief and focused on surface-level features like spelling, grammar, punctuation. But it's not just grammar and punctuation on that paper. That's someone's mind, their ideas, their heart. It's probably their best effort. It could be their history, their future, their dreams. So why are we so focused on surface-level features? There's not a single time in your life where you've read something, set it down, and reflected, the punctuation in that story was amazing. That declarative sentence, it moved me. That's not what we walk away with. It's not what we read. We read for the story, we read for learning, we read for the ideas, we read to open our minds, and it should be why we write. It should be why we teach writing. In a meta-analysis that I conducted with colleagues at Vanderbilt University, we found that expert feedback on writing resulted in strong positive effects on student writing. Yet study after study indicates that teachers spend fewer than 3 minutes, less than once a week, giving feedback. I observed exactly the same thing in hundreds of classroom observations that I've conducted. So I asked teachers, what stood in the way of giving rich, expert feedback on student writing? And they told me, you won't be surprised. It's time. It's faster and easier to give feedback on spelling and comma usage than on content, organization, ideation. So I set out to make it easier for teachers to give feedback on what really matters, the clear communication of ideas. I conducted 2 studies with teachers in which I taught them to use an iPad app to give asynchronous audio feedback. It's just another way of saying we recorded them talking. Okay? Here's how it worked. Using the app, they took a picture of each page of the student writing. They used the markup tools inside the app to give written feedback as is traditional. But I also taught them to record themselves talking through the writing. They used a checklist so that they would give systematic feedback on the things that really matter: content, organization, structure, ideation, logic, overall quality of writing. In doing this, teachers were able to give systematic, individualized feedback focused on the content to multiple students at the same time and still remain free in the classroom to have two-way conversations with those students who really need the live interaction. Teachers indicated that they felt like they were doing a better job of teaching writing, that they felt a little freer in their classrooms. Students really liked that they were getting so many details from their teacher in their feedback, that they could listen to it privately through their headphones, and also that they could play, pause, rewind as often as needed to revise their work in the moment. Prior to the intervention, students made few or no revisions to their work. After the intervention, they made many substantive revisions. But most importantly, overall writing quality improved. The aim of teaching children to write must move beyond grammar, spelling, and punctuation. It's the ideas that we must cultivate. because it's through writing that we express ourselves. It's through writing that we make ourselves known. It's how we make society deal with our ideas. It's how we get into college, how we get a job, get customer service, seek justice, and insist that we're represented. Writing matters. Thank you.
Okay, so now that you're back, the idea is to make sure that you are giving kids ideas and comments on their writing and communicating with them with their writing, and just making sure that you're always connecting with them. So that is just the basic overview of how can we as teachers all teach writing in our curriculum, which again, we know is not the easiest thing to do, but hopefully it is something that we can all work together on getting to them so that writing continues to grow and become really great here at FC. So that is the end of our video. I hope that this was helpful, and I look forward to meeting with you guys next week in our collaboration when we come up with the ideas for making the lessons that you guys will be working on. So I will see you guys soon, and have a wonderful day. Bye.